back to John for Mark Savard.
Mr. Savard, most younger Americans believe Social Security will not be viable in the long-term future. What changes, if any, would you support for reform of Social Security?
Yeah, I'm one of those just under the kind of the age limit that probably is not going to see Social Security survive. I'm 48. My whole working life paying into the system, I've just figured that that's money. Supporting those who we've made a pledge with to their Social Security, but not ever expecting the system to survive. I think the tables and the finances of the Social Security system are pretty well evident. I think the writing's on the wall that the system has to change. It's not a matter of if we want it to or not for those under 50. And I'll cop out a little bit, and because I haven't committed it to memory, but Paul Ryan's Roadmap for America is by far the best blueprint to get us out of the situation we're in now. Systemically, Paul Ryan, our best congressman right now, maybe in the nation, has the answers. It's an enormous document. I couldn't possibly bring it to the top of my head. But I've read it. I agree with it. I've posted on Facebook that I endorse it, that I stand by it. I think it's the kind of systemic, because you can't just solve Social Security, you can't just solve Medicaid. It's got to be a systemic change of direction. The actuarial tables are not in favor of this country being able to sustain the systems we have now. But Paul Ryan has the answers. They're there. So whenever you hear Democrats and others attack conservatives and Republicans who they say are just the party of no, baloney. Baloney. We do have answers out there. And Paul Ryan is leading the way, and I follow him, and I support what he's doing with the Roadmap for America. Thank you.
Ward, questions for Roger Rowe?
I believe that each one of you are advocates for the flat tax system, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong, no? That is incorrect. Okay. I'm sorry that I got that wrong. I'm going to direct this question to you anyways.
Sure.
Okay. Do you see the flat tax as regressive? And would any of you be willing to specify a flat tax rate that you think would be most beneficial as it relates to our economy and our national deficit?
Well, let me just tell you this. We have to look, our tax code is enormously complex. 70,000 pages. It would probably go from the floor right down here all the way up to the ceiling. In all different kinds of loopholes and ways you can get out of paying tax. So we certainly have to revisit that. I think a flat tax presents an opportunity for us. If we could simplify the tax code, allow Americans not to spend days collecting their material, going down and paying accountants money to go and file their taxes for them. If they could just simply fill out a postage card that took in whatever their income was, maybe times give a small deduction for a child, and they'd be able to compute it and send it into Washington. I mean, I think that makes a little bit of sense. The thing we have to be leery of when it comes to taxes here in our nation is that they are going to go up. We just had ridiculous entitlement spending over the last 2 years. $1 trillion in a stimulus bill. $1 trillion in a health care bill. Our taxes are going to go up, and the one tax I fear the most is the national sales tax. And President Obama is going to offer that tax to the nation. If we're not, I'm a little worried that we might even get a lame duck session of the Congress to pass that here in December. But we've got to make sure that we have representatives who are out there advocating on our behalf. And I'm one that says, if you empower people, If you take money out of the hands of government and put it in the hands of small business, entrepreneurs, individuals, they'll drive this economy forward. And that's the direction we need to go. And to the extent that we can help them with the simplified tax code is absolutely the answer. There are many different levels that have been talked about, whether a flat tax, if you make under, say, $99,000, you pay one rate. If you make over, you pay another. Quite simplistic and easy to comprehend. And I think any one of those would be a viable solution to the chaos that we have right now.
One minute rebuttal, anybody? John Hammond, your question for Reed.
Mr. Ribble again, okay. As we look at the map of the 8th district, obviously we're dotted with population centers. It seems like most of you are from maybe the more urban areas, but I think it's safe to say that the land ownership is highly rural. And keeping Mr. Savard in mind, I'm not sure exactly how big of a farm you have, but just your comment, Mr. Ribble, on maybe our government policies with farming. Is it outdated? Is it something that you see maybe an advantage of using our rural resources for something like energy, it seems to be a huge potential as far as we have a lot of people still involved with agriculture. What is the current state of our agriculture and where do you see it moving?
Well, just the dairy business alone in Wisconsin is a $26 billion industry, and it's growing at a fairly rapid rate, quite frankly. The role of government is to start removing subsidies and to taper off and eliminate federal subsidies for agriculture. I believe if we can remove subsidies, we can actually free up more revenue for agriculture, and particularly dairy, to grow. We can be, once again, America's true dairyland. And when I say that, we can be producing more milk and cheese than California. But we need to free it up. As far as improving or trying to use our farmland for energy sources, I am a big property rights guy. And so I know the whole wind energy thing is controversial. I like the idea of clean energy. However, I don't like the idea of clean energy in my yard if it devalues your property. See, there's the rub, isn't it? And in reality, we're going to have to, as a culture, begin to wrestle with that. But there might be better energy alternatives, like improving nuclear power in Wisconsin, as opposed to capturing land out of dairy or agricultural to improve our energy position in this state. And so I think that's probably as clear as I can give you an answer to that question.
Rebuttal? Comments on this? All right, I guess Richard next for Terry.
Mr. McCormick, back to immigration. We talk a lot about building fences and controlling the border, but do you think we should take a look at, as a nation, enforcing more strictly the businesses that are hiring the illegals?
As I mentioned before, we're in a recession. And the fact that we have 2-year benefits for unemployment underscores the fact that there are many Americans out of jobs. I think we're going to have to take a look at our brighter angels as a country and wonder why businesses and employers would be looking south to the border for individuals for work when we have Americans out of work right here. There's been promises of penalties against employers, even as recently as George W. Bush, saying that he was going to punish employers who employed illegal immigrants. They were breaking the law. And then there's the need, we need cheap labor. Ladies and gentlemen, don't elect me as a United States House of Representatives as your representative if you are asking and expecting me to break the law, or asking me to uphold individuals who break our law. The consequences is this extreme strike against our national security. Because along with illegal immigrants and the rising crime and the trend in rising crimes with not only the illegal drugs, but the slave labor that's ending up on large corporate situations and farms where they're literally forced to buy in a company store, we should be ashamed of ourselves and look to those brighter angels. I'm proud to be a daughter of a third-generation immigrant from Ireland on my mother's side who fought in the Civil War. I'm proud to be the great-great-great-granddaughter of an individual who fought in our Revolutionary War on my father's side. Legal immigration is an honor and a privilege. For employers who knowingly break the law, manipulate it, or form associations to advocate for amnesty or illegal use of workers, we need to question ourselves. Who are we electing to the U.S. House, and who would buy those kinds of goods? Your security, your welfare in our America is too important to look the other way. I won't look the other way. We need to enforce the laws. Thank you.
I'll take that 1 minute now. Consistency of issues is an important criteria you're going to be going through. Is if you're seeing a politician that's going to put their finger up in the wind and see what's popular, or if it's something in their gut that they've been talking about since day one. Candidate forum a year ago in Appleton, a question was asked me, what's your number one priority? I said, build a fence. And I say that today too. I have the endorsement of 5 county sheriffs throughout the district. The biggest vote getter in the district, countywide, Dennis Kochen. There's a reason for that, because I've been talking to them about immigration and how your county sheriffs, who you pay property tax to, has been overwhelmed by drugs and illegal immigrants that they have to deal with every day and that the federal government does not deal with and does not help them. And I asked them, what's going on in your world? And they said, drugs, illegal immigrants are our top priorities, are our top issues that we have to deal with. And I said, the federal government can handle that problem at the border, and they're not doing it. So I've been on that issue from day one, and I'll be on it all the way to Washington. Thank you.